Hey, what's up everyone? It's WereHogDX here, and today I'm with LightWhisp. Please introduce yourself.
What's up everyone? I'm LightWhisp. I'm the owner of Severed Fates, formerly known as Revamped Memories.
And this is currently a really big thing that for those of you who know and love Revamped Memories, we did get a brand change to Severed Fates, and now in today's Q&A we will be explaining everything. What is Severed Fates, everything about it, what are the changes and everything. So if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below what do you think. We are trying to reach 50,000 subscribers by May. If not, then I'm really planning that if we reach 30,000, I'm planning to do a massive giveaway, and 20,000 as well. We have a lot of milestones to get through, everyone. And I'm really excited for the future, how much we could grow this channel. And just please like, share, subscribe, everyone. It helps a lot. And now let's get into it. Okay, now so starting with this Q&A, we're with LightWhisp over here, the owner of Severed Fates, and my first question for you, LightWhisp, would be, what makes Severed Fates different from any other Sonic asym?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Severed Fates, like everybody else, is trying to kind of recreate the special mark that OM and TD had in everybody's hearts. We're no different in that regard. Our main difference is that we're making a much more focused game, much more complete one. Our first launch is intended to be a finished product. You'll find everything you need. Lore will be into the game. Everything should flow a lot better. And gameplay-wise, a lot of what you'll find that makes us different is just how intentional all the characters' kits are and how they all synergize together. Something I feel like was missed out a lot in previous Sonic asyms is that teamwork itself is not really as focused on. Severed Fates aims to be kind of the opposite, where you'll need to work together in order for killers to be escaped or defeated in any way. Along with that, our art style, I'd say, is pretty unique. You'll notice that a lot of our models are more painterly and more painted as a whole. They don't use cell shading, but they actually just use a form of texture painting. So I think that'll really help, and I think it'll help us stand out.
And that is honestly amazing, because many things that you pointed out here when it came to the art style is amazing. It really differentiates, and it's a beautiful art style. And when it comes to the lore and the teamwork and this, that, these are all things that are so requested for asym games that now Severed Fate really offers that. And I'm really excited to see what more could be worked on. And there's so much that's being added, which actually comes to my next question of curiosity is, how many maps are there planned to be available upon release?
Yeah, so it's kind of changed as we've become our own game and thought about what can set us apart. Originally, we had planned to do around 5 at launch. That number may shrink just because we're focusing on the maps themselves being more intentional in design, avoiding invisible walls. I felt like that was a really big pain point that I've seen in a lot of asym. Just having everything work together better. And also just having something that's actually unique about each map beyond just, oh, it's laid out differently. Something I can say is we've had ideas of like the stages morphing over time, certain pathways getting cut off or accessible, depending on how much time is left. So we just want to make sure that each map is more representative of what actually happened in the game they came from, or it's something that actually makes you think differently depending on how much time is left.
That's amazing, and I actually have many questions when it comes to the maps. My first specific one being, do we know if there are going to be any sort of map hazards or anything in Severed Fates?
Yeah, so one of the mappers recently came to me about adding like a rock sliding mechanic, which is what would open or deter you from going to different areas. So for example, if there was a bridge in the middle of the level, some rocks would fall down at a certain time and break the bridge, and now you can't go to that area in that way anymore. Or something else would open up. So things like that are definitely something we're keeping in mind. We don't want it to be too intrusive. It shouldn't really interrupt the survivors or killers game plan in the moment, but we're hoping that over time we can provide something fresh for every single time you try to play on it.
Perfect. And another very specific one is, are there going to be any replacements for stages? As in, are you going to be cutting any sort of stage that was in Outcome Memories or anything?
Oh, Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna be adding obviously our own, 'cause we're our own game now, but if we feel like something's not worth it to make in order to release on time, or if something could just be done in a more original way, we're gonna be cutting it, no questions asked. So when it comes to maps, don't assume that what you saw in OM or TD is gonna be everything you're seeing in Severed. Expect new things and expect some things to not come back.
And that's amazing clarification, of course. Severed Fates, one big thing that I really love so far is this was being worked on originally as Revamped Memories, and how you said that expect more, expect a lot new and many changes. It's really making me think that you all have been working so much on this so far from the beginning, right before the rebrand, before everything. And that's my specific question, not just for the original Revamped Memories, but this comes in for so far what we have of Severed Fates. How long have you all been working on this?
So Revamped Memories has been around since right at the end of January, and then the game started development like a week and a half later. Let's say like the game as a concept has been around for like almost 3 months, if not exactly 3 months, but Severed Fates has been around for 2 weeks.
Awesome. And so far for 2 weeks time, we have gotten so much. This is honestly amazing, because yet again, 2 weeks is a very small amount of time. 3 months or so since January, whatever, is actually a really small time, and the amount that has been done is amazing, and it's really clicking to me. So that would be my next question now. That what inspired this rebrand?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of it just came down to like how much effort we were putting in. Revamped was going to be effectively an original game, just using Outcome Memories as like an outlet for making things. So like we already had a completely original music. We were going to do relatively original movesets. You know, the maps were going to be different. The models are going to be different, even if they were styled to be like OMs. And we kind of took a step back and we were like, well, we're going to put this much effort in. Let's like not have the stigma of being a revival. You know, a lot of revival games, they're capped on both the amount of players they can have and how they're viewed by the community, and especially content creators. You know, a lot of people don't want to engage with something that is only made because you're piggybacking off of somebody else's creative endeavors. So you're kind of like, well, we're going to make it ourselves, and we already have a lot of talent going on here, and a lot of the content can just be transferable because it was already original to begin with. But we might as well just be our own game.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one thing that I always used to say before about like Revamped Memories, is that this has so much effort, so much is being added that this doesn't even feel like Outcome Memories back when it was revamped. And that's why like the fact that this is a rebrand is amazing, because yet again, there are many other games that started off being inspired or whatever by another game, and they grew to be their own things, such as Outcome Memories being inspired by TD. There's a lot that could grow, and I really do believe that Severed Fates is one of them that could grow to be its own thing. And like you said, it doesn't need to be piggybacked off of somebody else's creation, and this is your guys' own creation, which is the best part. But my next question would be, how much content is being lost or modified in this switch?
Yeah, so that's a really important question to ask. We've been asked it a lot. So I'll tell you this. In terms of executioner models, they're relatively the same, given that we made them ourselves and we already had our own stylization. We don't feel the need to homogenize the art style for the executioners, as we're trying to represent that they are all from different places. So for example, Crimson X's model has shading written onto it, like on the texture, to make him look like a Sonic 3 sprite. But 2011X obviously doesn't really have cell shading or any sort of painted effect. So we're trying to make sure that things are different in that way. So we don't really have to get rid of that many things. We did remodel Crimson X, but we just felt like we could represent it better. It wasn't because of the transfer. But when it comes to survivors, pretty much everybody is losing their model in some way. Thankfully, when it comes to like Eggman specifically, it's kind of hard to like stylize how fat somebody is. So we don't really need to change it that much. We just need to add like the painted style that we made. But I can tell you that like Sonic's gonna get changed, and Shadow was entirely original. Like we're starting to move on to our own art style, and so a lot of the times the survivor models need to reflect that. When it comes to skins, Excalibur Colossus is going to be the same, and that's also just because we kept the perms to use Mart's design. And because it's an executioner, we don't need it to follow the painted style, so we don't have to really do stuff like that. We lost some music. We weren't going to have 11 have a rage mode, but we had made music for it, so that's like scrapped. And other things like that, especially like moveset wise, we already had some code written down and kind of finished. It was never shown on this channel or even in sneak peeks, but we did have like a playable version of multiple movesets that already existed. But we'll have to redo that now.
And yeah, that's honestly really good because yet again, the amount that's being changed and modified and everything, it really opens your eyes to see that, yeah, this is a totally new experience. Because one thing that I know, like I'm a content creator, but I know that a lot of people have this one opinion. When they look at any of these games from far away, they're going to assume, oh, it's just Alchemy Memories clone or anything like that. When in truth, you really have to see, is it? And this isn't a clone whatsoever. This is its own thing. And the fact that you're getting so much different, like to this point, the art style is now different. So you could really see this being its own unique thing, whether if the roster is very similar or no. Still, yet again, this is its own thing, moveset, like how you said, which would come to my next question now. That will characters have more unique movesets? Like, my best example could be how most asym games give Tails a hand cannon. So will the game take its own approach and go a different direction from the usual movesets?
Yeah, so for most of them, I'd say we are. In the example of Tails, we'll still have a hand cannon, but it'll function like way differently than how it did in most games. It'll probably take more of a utility-based role rather than like you're using this and exclusively this. For things like Amy, we still kept her cards just because for classic Amy, that's like her main thing is using the cards. But the cards work a lot differently. The way you draw them is different. The way you pick them is different. She's got different moves. So there are some similarities just because like the classic characters don't exactly have the biggest bag ever. Like there's not a ton of moves you can pull from if you're trying to be like accurate to where they came from. But for things like Silver, he's pretty much entirely different. I can tell you that Silver keeps his apprehend move to be similar to OM just because like that's his most popular ability is to pick people up and throw them. And it's like, how are you going to do it anyway else? But we have like other moves. So for example, we have a move called Gravity Well, which is Silver will be able to designate a place on the map near him in a certain radius. And when he clicks it, an indicator will pop up and the whole area will be covered in like ESP energy. And anybody who's in that field has anti-gravity. So they have like really low gravity so that Silver can help his teammates get to spots that they normally can't. But it's a double-edged sword because the killers can also do it. And other things like we have a move called ESP Boost, where Silver can give himself a speed boost at the cost of his focus meter. But if he does the move again, he can project that speed boost onto the other survivors. So just kind of keeping things like accurate to what they would do, but on their own take is what we're trying to go for. For something like Metal Sonic, like he has to charge, right? Like that's his thing that he doesn't CD, so he's gonna have to charge. But we have him do this extra thing where he can charge it, kind of reminiscent to like how Knuckles charges his moves. And if Metal Sonic charges his move, when he does the charge, he can like fly and go hit people with it. So just kind of having our own spin, our own like natural evolution of what the characters would do, but also keeping the original is what we're going for.
That's amazing because moveset is by far my biggest, I suppose, say one thing that I'm really curious for. And that would actually go to specifically for a couple of characters I do have in mind. Like, what's the current plan for 2011X's moveset?
Yeah, so 2011, it's kind of an interesting one because like the classic characters, 11's moveset isn't that large in the game that he originally appears in, the one that Jodo Boy made. But we were able to find our own like spin on it, so he's still going to keep invisibility, but it's going to work differently. But in terms of like new moves, his charge works differently. So instead of it like being a grab minigame, when he flies at you, if he presses the button again, he can like lunge at you and grab you and throw you. And if he throws you into somebody else or into the wall, like you both take damage. And then we have some new moves called Playful God, which is like a counter. So that's kind of normal. But then he has this new passive called like God's Mark, where certain moves like Playful God will mark them for death. And once he marks you, if he hits you again, you take like bonus damage. But an entirely new move is God's Trickery, but it works like really different. It only shares the name, and I might change the name. So 11 will charge up a projectile and like throw it at a targeted survivor, and it's a slow moving projectile that's like only slightly faster or as fast as the survivor. And if it hits them, they'll get nearsighted, so they can only see like X studs in front of them, and all they can see are just like copies of 2011 laughing at them. So in that way, we're like definitely taking our own route with it. And then the last move, Soul Deletion, it's like a command grab. Like he'll flash for a second and then reach out and grab you. You know that move where he stretches his mouth like really wide?
Yeah.
He's gonna do that, and then that'll be the mini game. But he'll be able to get stunned, and in exchange, like the rate at which he like sucks your health out is really fast. So we're keeping him kind of more in his trickster way with like having the projectile and then like countering and just kind of like messing with you. But, you know, we're taking out things like rage mode and having the moves work a lot differently, while also trying to we try to do our best to stay faithful to the source material, and you know, part of that is going to be sharing a move or two with other depictions of them.
That's really awesome. 2011 was one of my most you know, how are you supposed to say, biggest concerns, because 2011 does get a lot of changes here and there, and I'm happy to see that this is really going in the right direction. But what about Fleetway Supersonic? Because there is a very similar moveset in these games for Fleetway. Yeah, and I'm very curious for Fleetway in this.
Yeah, so Fleetway, we're kind of taking a unique direction on him as a whole. A lot of the representation that Fleetway has had, like even in the past like 5-6 years, is very influenced by like fan and interpretations of him. You know, at first it was like, oh, Fleetway would have Hollow Ichigo's voice, and then he'd act a little bit like them. And then the Friday Night Funkin' mod came out, and it's like, oh, he's actually just Sonic, but like a dick. But like he's more nuanced than that, and I feel like I really wanted to represent that and not just have like the Friday Night Funkin' Fleetway Supersonic. And that's no hate against them. It's just like it's a very like fan and inspired take. So our model and our art style for him is going to be very, very, very comic accurate. Our voice for him is very comic accurate, and his moveset kind of reflects that. So he does have the spin dash that he had in OM, but I'm thinking of changing. I'm not sure yet, but that will work pretty similarly. His laser eyes will work differently though, where there is going to be a passive called Chaos Fluctuation, and it's like this bar, like this meter that you have to manage. And using things like laser vision or heat burst deplete this bar. And if you deplete it too much, you can't use those moves anymore. So it's like this way of resource management and justifying how strong he is. And laser vision itself isn't like this big charge up and then you stay still. You manually charge it yourself using the bar from Chaos Fluctuation. And you can use it to like shoot out the laser eyes. And it's more accurate to the comics. In the comics, it's like a concentrated laser that blows up after it's done. So it's going to work the same way. So he'll be able to shoot the laser, and when he's done, there'll be like a mini explosion where the laser ended. But like heat burst, it's kind of like burst in an OM, but instead of it just being like a counter, you can use it as an offensive thing. So it has two phases. So the first phase is kind of like how it works in OM, where it uses like a certain amount of meter, and then you get like the normal burst. The thing is, a phase 2, if you overcharge it, not only do you have a bigger radius of explosion, you burn people, you apply a new status effect called Crippled, which stops people like survivors being able to use any of their abilities for X amount of seconds. And the ability that it turns off is random. So let's say like you were playing Cream and Fleetway used his second burst on you, like the second phase burst. Now all of a sudden you can't heal. And so now you guys are like panicking because it's like, oh my God, he just hit us with that, and now he's going to come after us, and we're taking burn damage. And my favorite move that I came up with him is something that's not represented about Fleetway, is Fleetway actually has energy projection. So something that he does in the Fleetway comics is he wants to keep people away, so he actually puts out a shield on the ground, and he's going to do the same thing. So Supersonic will charge up 2 balls of energy and throw them on the ground, and you can almost think of it as like a domain expansion, where he like traps somebody in a bubble, and nobody can get to him, or nobody can get to the survivor but Fleetway. So like it forces a more rush down heavy playstyle with Fleetway, and it kind of makes everybody think like, holy Jesus, he's on us at all times. And the barrier like forces a 1v1 between the survivor and Fleetway. The only way that the survivor can get out is if the other survivors hit the barrier with stuns. And then life drain works differently, where instead of it being like, you know, like the charge up and then the dash, and then he just like throws them away, it's like a short dash, and it's more like involved, because Life Drain is like one of the only few moves in the Fleetway comics that he has that's like original, other than like the energy projection. So I wanted to keep it, but what he does instead is he grabs you, he'll slam the survivor in the ground, throw them, and then laser eye them. So he'll drain less health, but he'll do more damage overall compared to Outcome Memories. And I sent you the like screenshots we have for the storyboards for him. But he's definitely going to be like a more involved killer, like more in your face, more in control, to be honest. And I just feel like that reflects his comic side more, because in the comics, like, yeah, he's crazy, but he's very controlled. Like, he knows what he's trying to do. He knows what he wants. He's not like this praise maniacal guy that doesn't know what he's doing or is trying to prove himself. Fleetway, even in the script, like, he's a lot more controlled. He's more angry than anything else.
Yeah, and I must say that's a big round of applause for Fleetway. Honestly, this is so far the best take I've seen. Honestly, I really love the bubble idea the most. That was probably my personal favorite. That was a really good idea, and it's honestly really awesome because yet again, it's not every day that you see such a unique moveset for these characters in the other asym games or anything. You could get minor changes, but you don't get something this big of a change, and I'm really happy to see that. But when it comes to my last character that I would have a specific question on, this is a very obvious character I'm just curious on. What would be any sort of moveset changes for Sonic?
Yeah, so, oh my god, this one's so cool. So, we are currently in the last round of, like, voting, I guess, for the character, but most of his moveset is pretty much completely conceptualized. We're just kind of like debating like one move, but we're pretty set on what it's going to be. So let me pull it up right now.
Right.
So the way that Sonic works is no dodge meter for one, no guilt passive. That's silly.
Yeah.
He's going to be an all-rounder that focuses on like really feeling like Sonic, like really having the style. And he literally has something called a style ranking. So you know how like in the Sonic games, like when you finish it, it'll tell you like how good you did, right? So we're gonna have the same thing. So Sonic's gonna have a style ranking from F, D, C, B, A, and S, and it'll increase or decrease depending on certain actions. And the goal is that you want to be like as persistent as possible on Sonic. No more of this like hiding and then doing peel out and then hiding. You got to be like in the executioner's face, not necessarily always fighting them, but being close enough to where the executioner's really annoyed, like Sonic would annoy people. And so you can improve your rank by hitting certain moves, or just like staying in danger time long enough, and it won't drain if you're in danger time. But if you're not in danger time, like if you're running away or if you miss a move, you'll go down in rank. And the rank that you have will determine like different bonuses or different things that you can do. And so the idea is that you're constantly like making sure you're like basically styling on the executioner, or even just like styling on the survivors, like showing like, oh, look at this, look at all this stuff I can do. And so for his moves, his ability 1 is called spin attack, and it's just like you can either do a spin dash or a drop dash. If you do the spin dash, you'll launch yourself towards the executioner at X stud speed. We haven't figured out the speed. And you have full drift control, so like you can move like pretty tightly. And when you hit them, instead of like bouncing back, you'll go straight through them. So it's like a way to focus more on you. And the cool part about it is every single time Sonic does any stun, you can do a trick. Or like he'll do like a pose or like a style thing, and it'll give you extra style points. So it kind of like rewards you for being good with your timing and knowing you're going to hit somebody. If you try to boost it with style points, which is a mechanic where if you have a certain amount of style, like a certain rank, you can boost the moves while you're doing them, which will cost style, but it'll like make it better. So if you boost it during the spin dash, he speeds up, and then he'll continue the spin dash regardless of if he's hit an executioner. So normally when you hit the executioner, like you stop doing the spin dash no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you boost it, you can keep doing it. So like you could like turn the corner, hit 2011 and just keep going.
Yeah.
And like it's just like, oh my god, that's so annoying. But it's perfect because that's kind of like how Sonic styles on people. The drop dash is kind of how it works in OM, except when you boost it, he kicks them, like so you get more distance, and you can do tricks after. His peel out works a bit differently. We kept it just because like peel out is pretty iconic for classic Sonic. So peel out can only be performed grounded. You can never do it in the air.
Yeah.
The cool thing about it is if you if you boost it, you can walk up walls. So like
Oh.
you could go completely vertical and then suddenly horizontal and just be gone. Like you just completely leave. And people can only be picked up, which is another like quality of life thing we did. You can only be picked up if you indicate yourself as being allowed to be picked up. So no more like some random Sonic picks you up or like you pick up somebody on accident. They have to say they want to be picked up with like one of the functions in the game. So yeah, that's how that works. And if you jump on top of like a wall, like if you go vertically up a wall, Sonic can jump off the wall and do tricks, like to increase his trick style.
Oh. That's,
so yeah, and then his last move is it's called Humming Top. And do you know the move he can do in like advance where like he spins?
Yeah.
He puts his leg out. Yeah, so it's basically that. So initially it's called Leap if you don't have enough style, where he just like slightly jumps a little bit, like just a little bit. But if it's Humming Top, you can do a vertical one and a horizontal one. So the horizontal one is if you're running and you use Humming Top, he'll like dash forward and like spin out, like the horizontal spin that he does in advance. And if he hits somebody, he'll bounce off them, and then he can do a manual trick. And then vertical Humming Top is you can't hit anybody, but you go up like really high for movement.
That is honestly amazing, because me being a Sonic main for a Survivor, that sounds honestly amazing. And one of the best picks would definitely be the style system, because yet again, when you're playing these games, you want to have the max amount of unique feel for each character. So definitely the style system would be amazing, and it's a really good pick. And as well as having the specific indication of someone being picked up. Like I had a lot of moments where I would accidentally pick up someone where I don't mean to, and then it would just be like a mess after. It could turn into a mess.
Yeah.
So it's better that's like it's actually an optional thing, right? But for my final part, when it comes to movesets, is there any other specific moveset that you didn't reveal but you want to tease?
Yeah, I'd say definitely Bad Future. Bad Future is like my brainchild when it comes to movesets. I won't talk about the whole thing because like we're gonna be here forever, but Bad Future has 3 phases, and I think some parts of them are really, really cool. They're all like derivative versions of each other. So the first phase is the weakest, and then the second phase is better, and then the third phase is the best, obviously. But something that I really like about Bad Future is her playstyle changes per phase, but it's like really unique playstyles. Like her first phase, you can't see your health. If she hits you, you have no idea how much she hit you for. So I really like that, like she progressively takes more and more data out of the survivor's hands. Like her counter in her second version, she brings out a mirror, and if you break it, the next time you try to use that move, you can't use it, and you're forced to use the same move, but it won't work, and then you'll take damage. It's really cool. My favorite part about her is definitely the sleeping system, where if anybody knows who Bad Future is, her powers work by putting you to sleep, and you do the same thing in Severed. So it's like everybody has to like manage themselves and make sure they're not like falling asleep. And then Bad Future has to like play this mini game of like who's the closest to falling asleep. Like who do I make sure doesn't stay awake for too long? Because if you've never been hit by any of like her sleep filled abilities, like that fill your sleep meter, she regresses phases. So it's like this really cool back and forth between the survivors and the executioners, where like everybody's constantly doing something, and everybody's trying to make sure that Bad Future doesn't progress, and Bad Future is trying to take away everybody's data and like their ability to see what they're doing and put them to sleep so she can progress. And I really like that.
That's honestly really awesome, because one of my most how are you supposed to say, like the executioners that I was really excited for was Bad Future, because there's like so much potential in that character. I'm really happy that you guys are utilizing the most that you can so far. And from what we heard, the fact that this is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Bad Future. So far, everything is sounding amazing, honestly. And I'm really happy to hear about the movesets. It's honestly really, really good, and everything is so far working properly. And for my next question now, I want to know, will every character receive a redesign?
It depends on what exactly is defined as a redesign. They'll all be like, obviously they're all going to have their own models, and it's going to be an our art style with the
Yeah.
shading and like the different proportional choices. But when it comes to like actual like physical appearances, not that often. Cream has her own dress, and that's pretty much it. Most of them are just like proportional changes, like Shadow's quills are stylized this way, or he's tapered off this way to look more like a classic character. Or like, Silver has this type of clothing because it's earlier on in his timeline, or Blaze looks like this because it's based on our concept art. Like the poncho stuff that a lot of asyms do. So there's stuff like that, but not really too often are we going to be changing like their actual looks. Like most of it's just going to be like stylization. But if that's in reference to Revamped, then yeah, everybody's getting changed.
That's really cool. And for my next question, when it comes about designs and everything, another thing does come in my head. How will the cosmetic system work for the game?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways that we've decided to take our own path on it. So there's going to be an achievement system, like a milestone system that will allow you to have certain cosmetics, and you'll have to unlock them yourself. Like they won't be purchasable. So for example, like there's like a milestone skin, a milestone emote, like stuff like that. But generally, we're going to be doing the same layout of like headpiece, chest piece, foot piece, and then like accessory piece, along with palettes. Some pieces though won't work unless you do all of them together because they like change the model too much. And then some of them will change some of your animations. But generally, it's going to be like letting people pick their own stuff out. When it comes to executioners, we have some ideas going around right now about certain things we want to do. But we have some skins that aren't exactly like full-on changes. Like they only give them like extra stuff on top of their model rather than like a whole new model with like new animations and everything. So we'll probably figure out a way to include that. But executioners will not exclusively have like, oh, this is like basically a new character, like how in OM every skin like is intended to have its own voice lines or have its own music, and that's great, and I totally respect that. It's just that we feel like there's definitely stuff we can do to like keep content flowing more frequently that doesn't necessitate us to be like, here's a whole new set of animations, here's whole new voice lines, here's whole new music. We obviously love doing stuff like that, but there would definitely be cases where it's like, here's Crimson X, but like he looks like this guy, like the poison skin that I sent you is an example of something where it's like he won't get a new voice, but like he'll get some different things, or we wanted to do DXE, which is like the Crimson X, but like he has the Phantom Ruby. That wouldn't change anything. Like it would just be a model swap.
Yeah. And so far, based on my opinion, I'm really gonna say everything's looking really good so far. And another thing when it comes to cosmetics that did just click in my head is originally for Revamped, there was a plan to have the option of the original skins in OM and basically the original variants of a character as well as the revamped version. So what would be going on in that situation for Severed Fates now?
They won't have that anymore. But we have like Colossus, we have like concept art for like a TD skin. It's not because we're based on TD, it's just because like that's a popular design for him because it's like his original one. Of course. If we ever do something where you're like, oh, it's from this place, it's not because it's like what we intended for Revamp, where it's like the original things. It's just because we thought it was cool to include. Like TD Colossus is funny to include.
Yeah, that's honestly really cool. Like a TD Colossus, that's honestly a really cool pick. To be honest, because I'm surprised that we didn't see TD Colossus in any of these that much. But for my next question, it's what does music look like for this game? Like, how will it be shown off? Is there anything unique about how you implement it?
Yeah, so there's a couple things that I feel like set us apart. For one, like there's a music player in the game. You can listen to it in the game if you want through our gallery system. Two, the music that we release will be sort of set in like an album, like vinyl style. So we have covers for every single song, almost every single song we make. If it's a set of songs that are under one thing, so like let's say for example, Fleetway Supersonic's music set, right? Like Terror Radius, Chase, Last Life. It'll have its own like album cover and in the game you can listen to it in our gallery through the vinyl player. And another thing that I really like about Severed Fates is that we allow you to have your own say in how some of the music is presented. So for example, in the shop, we have multiple shopkeepers and they have their own themes, but you'll also be allowed to purchase extra songs. And then you could assign like, what music do I want to play when I'm in the shop? What music do I want to play when I'm here, there, things like that. So you have more control overall. And that's something that we really value in Severed, is like giving the user control of their own experience. And so the gallery, like setting your own music and just having multiple shopkeepers in general for keeping the variety up, I feel like is something that I haven't seen in other Sonic asyms.
That's honestly, yeah. Because when it comes to the gallery, like Sonic asyms and everything, like of course Outcome Memories itself didn't even have anything for the gallery. And the fact that you're able to do a lot in the gallery is honestly really cool, because yet again, when it comes to these games, probably one of the biggest praises that they get is for their music. And I'm really one of them. I really love the music for these games. I'm really excited to see what we get in Severed Fates. I have another question. Many or some may not know, but who's that blank character? Specifically,
can't say too much in the interview, but I'll say some things. The blank is a character that is very important to the story of Severed Fates, and he's currently the character people are trying to like decode in the ARG section of the server. He kind of sets up the game as a whole, and what he is if you think about the void, like the places that X and everybody else come from, he is the void. Like, he is a personification of the void itself, and he's like in his own custom void. And the reason the game happens is because he gets so bored of doing nothing that he's like, okay, I need to see something that like I could never do, I could never control, and I could never replicate. And so that's kind of like what kickstarts the game, is he's not evil, and he's not really like doing things for nefarious purposes. He's just that bored that he needs to see something happen that he could have never predicted.
That's I really like that, because usually you get these whole storylines where you have, oh yeah, this one pure evil thing or anything like that, but the fact that it's like it's in a totally different perspective. Of course, a messed up perspective, but still, it's not like a pure evil type of perspective. So it's really cool, and I'm really excited to see what would be going on for the lore, because clearly this character is going to be the most major part for the lore. And for my next question, do you guys plan on doing like a big reveal at some point of everything you want to share about like what will be in the game? Like, such as if there's a dev stream or super huge announcement or anything?
Yeah, so obviously when it comes to gameplay stuff, we'll definitely do like a bigger thing in our devlogs and stuff. But it really just depends on like what the team wants and what we feel is best for us in terms of like reach. So, you know, like movement showcases, so like on like test maps and stuff like that, we would definitely do. And when it comes to devlogs, is probably where you'll find like the biggest reveals is devlogs. But otherwise, when it comes to smaller things, like maybe something's already been revealed and we're just showing like, hey, like here's what they look like. That's more of like a smaller thing for social media. But we also have more frequent stuff, like now that Severed Fates is its own thing, people can't assume what we're going to add and be correct. And part of that is going to be our skin. So we'll have like little skin animation reveals to confirm things for the launch roster. So I remember I showed you the poison skin. We're going to be having like a review animation for that. And then like, let's say we did, what's like a crimson lookalike? Let's say we did like Diablo, right? If we did Diablo, we would do like an animation for like Diablo, like nothing like hand-drawn frame by frame, but more like image manipulation, just to have something cute like for the socials and for the server. So we definitely have more frequent things for small stuff like skins, but when it comes to like gameplay or like showing off like a finished version of something, that's definitely gonna be something that's more like grand in reveal and something more for our devlogs.
That's honestly really amazing. And yet again, for those of you watching, to keep a good eye on the socials for Severed Fates, as well as devlogs and everything, and anything else, any announcements, I'll of course always cover them up and I will make videos on them. And for my next question would be how much content would be in release, such as killers, survivors, etc.?
Yeah, so this one is subject to change just because, like, maybe we find out that, one killer or one survivor is taking us particularly long to get to a point that we like, and, everything else is done, so you might as well,
Yeah.
But it's planned to be around 6 killers, and let me check for survivors. A lot of survivors. Um, because we had already started development as like an OM revival, and we had already put like a lot of time into like the base OM cast, it's still going to consist of a lot of them, except we won't have Tripwire. That's going to be somebody else. Obviously like Fleetway is basically a new character because we're keeping like as little as possible from OM. Same thing with 11. Everybody's kind of as dissimilar to where they were before as possible, except for Colossus, because Colossus is not an OM character, it's a TD character. So we're trying to stay faithful to like the TD stuff, and that pretty much means having the same moveset, because OM's Colossus was basically just TD's Colossus. So that's going to be the same, but it'll be quite a bit. That's the goal at least, but we'll have to see as we get closer. Like I said, like maybe a little bit more happens because we work so fast once like production actually starts, or maybe there's a little bit less because we're like, oh, like let's say Bad Future, right? Like Bad Future is a really difficult character to work on because you're basically working on 3 characters in one. Bad Future has 9 songs, right? Bad Future has 3 move sets, 3 sets of animations, 3 models, 3 sets of voice lines. You're basically making like 3 characters at the same time. So if you were to put it that way, then Severed would be releasing with like 9 characters on a release just on the killer side. So if we find that like Bad Future is taking too long, or like she needs more time, then we'll just release the game if Bad Future is the only thing holding it back.
That's definitely something, that's very, very true, because Bad Future so far, I'm gonna personally say, is the most, in my opinion, the most anticipated character for the game. And based on how it's basically 3 characters, 9 tracks and everything, it's like there's so much being put. I'm really happy to see this much motivation that the team has to work on this. But actually, for my next question, that would be, what will the core mechanic of the game become, such as the survivor gradually like building up speed when going over ramps or anything like that, like momentum stuff?
Yeah, so more like I specifically was looking into what it could be like for us to have momentum, and something that I feel is what's going to happen with the momentum-based ones, like Fractured Genesis or Oblivion, or even like what was it called? It was like Freedom Fighters, like the ones
Freedom
where it's
Fighters.
like it's no EXEs.
Yeah, Freedom Fighters, yeah.
Yeah, they have the same thing, and the concern I have is you're making a system where movement alone can determine an entire game. Where if a level is designed like a little bit bad, just fundamentally, like just with the movement, it can just delete that map in terms of enjoyment. And it's also like the killers need to have a lot of CC control to hold survivors in place, and the survivors can't have too much. It's like it's just a big can of worms that I feel like makes development of an asymmetrical horror game, or even like if it's not horror, right? Like OM's not really horror. Just an asym in general is really hard when you start incorporating momentum, because it's like, what if somebody finds this like cracked out spot, or like if you get even near them, all of a sudden they're building hella speed and they effectively teleport away. It's like, well, now my killers need to be as strong to compensate for that. It's like, okay, well, now I have a situation where like a killer can be bad on a map just because they don't build speed fast enough, and like there's nothing you can do to their kit to fix that. So I want to avoid that, and I know it may seem as a disappointment to some people, but I feel like having a more simplistic movement style, kind of like TD and OM, more like OM because I like the rolling in it. It's kind of more optimal for control because you're able to know what's possible more often. So it'll basically be pretty similar to OM. It might have like a few gimmicks, but the gimmicks will primarily be based on the maps.
Yeah, and that's honestly, I agree with a lot of that, because then when you have some killers, it's like, even in the base OM to this point, there's like, sometimes it gets pretty tough. And if you have something like momentum, like speed boosts like that, then it would definitely be hard for some executioners, like such as if you have Colossus or someone that is naturally a slower executioner, then it's tough. But for my next question, that would be, what's the game's modes and features outside the normal game, such as like different game modes or something?
Yeah, so basically, when it comes to modes, we have one like for sure game mode we're gonna do, which is Double Trouble. But when it comes to like things outside of like the main game, like I mentioned, the gallery. So the gallery is a really big thing for us because it's a way that you can see like the more internal makings of the game. And by that I mean, actually I send you a concept a little bit ago, so you can show it on screen if you want. We have like a rough concept of what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be a movie theater, and you'll have 3 objects, which is the record player, the movie theater screen, and then like a whiteboard. And it's going to be like 3 different sides of the game. So the music player is obviously for music, like the vinyl player is going to be to listen to music. The movie screen is going to be for where you can read all the lore inside of the game. So it'll all be like incorporated properly, and you'll be able to like see what's going on and why the game is set up and like quirks about each character. And something that I love is your gallery host will have something to say about them. So have you ever played like Sparking Zero, like Budokai Tenkaichi 3?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so they have like commentary on each character. Like Chi-Chi will say something, right?
Yeah.
So we'll have the same thing. So whoever your gallery host is will have something to say about that character. So it just brings a lot of like personality and life into the world. And the whiteboard is concept art or scrap things. So like maybe we put like some scrap skin there, or you can see like our turnaround references, or even like scrapped music. Like maybe we'll have it so you can listen to the Rage Mode theme that we originally had planned, or like Revamped memory things are in there. So I feel like that's something that I've never really seen before, is having like an in-game place to view all these things and like see like the passion and everything built into it. So that's definitely something that I really think will set Severed differently, as well as having like different shopkeepers and being able to buy music and all that.
Definitely, all of that is amazing. I'm really happy to see all of this because yet again, this is by far, I'm gonna say, as a fan, as a creator, I'm gonna say there's so much that is loved in Outcome Memories and many of these asym games, and just in general when it comes to all these games, everybody just loves these type of things. And when you get closer to the more insights of these type of things, if the players could get to see more on those things, scrap things, this that, it's really cool. And Double Trouble, I'm very excited to see how that would be in Severed Fates. But for my next question now, what's been the biggest struggle in developing Severed Fates?
Bad Future.
Bad Future.
Bad Future is a monstrosity to work on, because we have to make 3 movesets that are like the next one has to be better than the last one, and they need to be different to stay like lore accurate, but they also can't be too different because then it's like really confusing, and you can't have too many like effects going. I remember the first Bad Future moveset that I was ever proposed, like it was handed to me like this is what I think we should do. I think she had 26 abilities. It was bad.
Oh, wow.
It was really, really bad. Bad Future is honestly so hard to make that she's probably going to be the most technically difficult character we ever make, even if it's like 3 years from now. We'll look back and be like, wow, Bad Future was like something different. Bad Future is awful to work on. Like, she's really cool, and it's really cool to think about her being made. Like, the music has been sublime, the art has been sublime, everything's been so good, but it's been so hard every step of the way because it's 3 characters.
Wow. Yeah,
I think even if it wasn't like a specific character, like if you're asking like contextually, like inside, like what's hard to develop overall, I would say like the maps are pretty hard just because like we're trying to make them unique, you know. That's pretty hard, and we struggle a lot with like density of the team. Like for how much we made, we're kind of like understaffed in terms of like how many people work on things. Like our output doesn't match how many people we have. This has been difficult. But if you meant like what specifically in the game is our Bad Future, I would be so impressed if Memory Lane made Bad Future the same way. Not even because like, oh, you think you could do better? Like, no, dude, it is so hard to make Bad Future with phases because the lore that she has is very hard to translate into an actual moveset. Like, how do I translate the 5 stages of grief into a moveset? Like, that's how I came up with the like bad feature hides how much damage she's doing to you, like denial. It's like you don't even like, there's no way you're getting hit. Like those types of feelings. It's nice now that it's been made, but it's probably taken me like a month and a half just to come up with her moveset.
Exactly. And yet again, like bad future, the amount that was put is like, I really hope that there are possibly game modes in the future that like there'd be a longer game so you could really go through all that, because then like having such a technical character, your best wish is that you get to learn that character. And that actually comes in a bonus question. Would there be some sort of tutorial mode or test mode or anything for the game to get a better grip on some characters?
Yeah, so naturally in private servers, I'd like it so that you can start the game even if you're by yourself, just so you can see how the moves work. But even beyond that, we're gonna make it so you can actually read what the moves do, even when you're in the game. So like you'd press a certain keybind, and it'd be like, oh, this move does this, that move does that. So even if you're in the game, like you can quickly check like how your moves work.
Wow, that's honestly something really useful, because when it was my first time playing Outcome Memories and such, it was like, there's so many moves I didn't even know how they work. And and like, of course, it's not like all the time you're just gonna go private servers, quickly test and go back. So it's better that if you even have like the option to just read what this even does, then it's much better. And it's honestly amazing, man. And for my last question for the day, that would be, when do you feel like Severed Fates could release?
I'll tell you what I think would be impressive. Instead, because I don't have an exact, but I'll say this: if we came out like July, August, I would be shocked. I'd be like, holy Jesus, there's no way we just released all that fast. I mean, my coder team has like ballooned. Like, we have way more it's been honestly shocking. We went from like, we don't have enough coders to like, we might have like a top 3 coding team in asyms in general now. So once like everything's set up, like animation wise and model wise, the actual production of the moveset should be really fast. But despite that, like making good maps is really hard. You know, like you have to account for so many things, like future proof it. So if we came out like July, August, I would say like that's a job well done.
Honestly, and I really hope so that July, August, we could see Severed Fates. Because there's like a lot of anticipation, honestly. Like from me, from everyone else, there's a lot of anticipation, the amount that's being worked on. I'll definitely say that this is really my personal, how are you supposed to say, for most excitement for what I want to see. That would be Severed Fates, definitely. I'm really excited to see the final product, honestly. And yet again, thank you so much for your time, LightWhisp. It's been real fun with you today. And that's Severed Fates, everyone. Not Revamped Memories. It's Severed Fates now. So keep that in mind, everyone. And if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below what do you think. And any other words you have for the fans and the viewers and such, LightWhisp.
If you're good at VFX, or like you're really good at making maps, or like you're really good at animation, hit me up, please.
Definitely. Like I'll put the link to Severed Fates Discord down below, so people could join, they could keep track, and if anybody could do anything else to join the team, make sure to reach out to LightWhisp. And now that's it for today, everyone. And until next time, everybody, see y'all.